Family, we back up. Let me take this off. Let's see what we got going on. Coco, what's up with it? As you see when you come in and say, don't get excited. Don't get excited. Whatever you do not get excited. Do not get excited. It's crazy. That's something I should tell my homeboy. We used to be out doing our thing. And bro used to, you know what I'm saying? He used to get excited, you know what I'm saying, about being emotional, about doing what we were doing. Um, what we was doing ain't all that important right now. But the point is, whatever you do, don't get too excited. A lot of us, we lose sight of what's important by getting too excited about certain situations. We get too excited, we stop our feet, stop our progress. You know, excuse me, is when a lot of us are not too excited. We stay focused and we stay strategic in what we do. You feel me? Whereas when we get excited, we start doing less and less towards our progress. Start doing less and less towards what we've been working towards the whole time. We start getting comfortable. Start taking things for granted. Start feeling like we already made it. Start feeling like balance is not important. We forget the things that we told ourselves before things start working in our favor, or before things seem like they started going in our favor. We forget all about those things and just, you know, start going with the program. And I was having a dope ass conversation earlier today about epigenetics and about some of the history of my people and the place where I find myself currently. To the point I had to remind myself, like, it's easy for us to get caught up doing certain things that aren't necessarily in our favor, but it just feels so familiar. So we just keep on going down that road. It just feel yeah, it just feels so familiar. So we just keep going down that road to the point that when somebody try to call you on it, or somebody try to let you know that ain't probably the best thing you should be doing. We so familiar with it to the point that what's up with the sunshine, to the point that we'll fight tooth and nail for it, even if the said thing got my eye on you too, even if the said thing isn't in our best interest, isn't in our best interest. Mhm. So I would encourage you to reason with yourself at all times. Ask yourself, what is the reason why I'm doing certain things? Good afternoon to you as well. Why am I doing these things? And what is the escalation of it? Don't be out here chasing waterfalls. Man. I'm just playing. But y'all know what I mean by that. Don't be out here doing things and not necessarily understanding what a potential could go with that. Um, to the point that, it shows that you done got too excited. You know what I'm saying? You just done got excited to be doing anything. And so you just out here doing anything, you know? You just out here carrying yourself any kind of way. I'm gonna touch on a few of the things that I was explaining that some of my people do, as well as I found myself doing um, unconsciously. You feel me? Without paying attention to the consequence of what I was doing. I found myself doing things that took place on breeding plantations. You know, doing things as though they was gonna free me. I was out here reproducing. What's up with it, CC? Or doing things that would suffice to reproducing. Interacting or intercoursing with certain people from a place of insecurity versus, anything that we do, right? That can be a negative and a positive, and it's all about, in a way. Good morning, CC. Um, history of motherfucker. Um, it can be a negative and a positive to everything, and the energy in which you go about it will determine, how it's received or how it returns to you. So if you're out here intercoursing or interacting, let me try to use words that don't get me in trouble on here. But interacting with folks from strictly a place of insecurity, right? It'll lead to you receiving more of the same, right? If you're doing it from insecurity, you looking for validation, so to speak, or you're doing it to validate yourself to the point that here it is, those same people that you're looking for validation from will be the same ones that will make you feel invalid. You know what I'm saying? Make you feel like your actions are worth nothing. But here it is on these breeding peas or plants. I'm gonna say it like that, on these breeding plants. These people was often told, what's up with it, Tony? They was often told that if you have a certain amount of children, for us, we'll let you go. If you think about how things is going today, you got people out here, basically sacrificing, you know, your children to a system based on what you don't know. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, chocolate drop. Sacrificing your children to a system based on our insecurities that led to us interacting with certain people. Um, and not understanding how once these kids come into this system, whether it be by way of them having to be taught or whatnot, they dictate their trajectory. They dictate how they think in society. They control how far they go in this world to the point it's basically like they were sacrificed to this system, meaning they have no choice but to operate within and fulfill what the system will want them to be in this system. So these are things that if you're not careful, right, you wind up doing without even thinking about it. Epigenetics is real, but it is something that you can overcome. It's still something that you can overcome by simply remembering. Remembering what you're up against. Remembering who you are, you know. Remembering who you are to the point that it's like, hold on, you ain't gonna just get that over on me. Cause I remember, hey, our people went through this. So as a result of us going through this, now we operate a certain way. And in order for me to break that curse in my people, break that habit that we do strictly out of cognitive dissonance, I have to reason with myself every time I go out, every time I wake up. For a lot of us, we wake up and we get straight to habits that, unbeknownst to us, dictate our whole day. Dictate our whole day. We get straight up and start worrying about things. Get straight up and start thinking about life in a way that determines how our day is gonna be. You know, one thing about the news, wherever you get your news from, what's up with it, brown sugar? Wherever you get your news from, the news is meant to put everybody on a certain emotional wave. Appreciate that love. To put everybody on a certain emotional wave to the point based on the emotions that we express has an effect on our environment. And then if enough people get to thinking something, it has no choice but for it to happen. You feel me? If enough people get to feeling a certain way, Mika, it's bound to happen. It's bound to come into fruition. Not to mention there are certain things that based on how we think, appreciate that love. Um, Based on how we think, it creates an environment. It creates an environment where other people that think of similar thought patterns feel comfortable. They feel comfortable. They come in and they bring their energy that further implicates the situation. Like I said, you had those certain breeding plants where people were told, man, if you have this amount of, you know, this amount of children, we're gonna let you free. And I know for a lot of us, it's saying like, well, we're not living in those same circumstances. Well, the reason why it was so easy to let people go, well, it was something that they was cool with doing because they recognized epigenetics. Appreciate that love. That based on how we have been traumatized up until now, we were bound to repeat certain things should we be put in similar circumstances. Now, this ain't my usual, conversation of simply just encouraging, but this is kind of like how the doctor do. You feel me? The doctor, when you come in, doctor gonna kind of let you know what you facing, what you up against. Appreciate that love. What you up against to the point that now when I turn around and tell you what the solution can be, you feel me? You more likely to want to get on the page of finding a solution once you realize the problem. Um, Seeking validation from things or people outside of yourself leads to you not feeling as good all the time. You feel me? Leads to you feeling depressed because you have suppressed yourself for so long, suppressed what's important to you for so long, suppress what's important to your growth spiritually for so long, to the point that by the time you recognize it, it's all built up. And before sometimes you can recognize that you got stuff built up that you take out on people and things in the wrong way. Take it out in a way that it's like, darn, was it really that serious? Take it out in a way that it's like, you can't take back what you just said to such and such. You can't take back even the energy that you released, or because like you had to cultivate that energy within yourself, right? You had to cultivate that energy within yourself. You can't take it back, but you can heal. I'm gonna say that again. You can't necessarily take it back, right? But you can find a way to heal. And similar to a broken bone, that heals even stronger than it was at first because it actually experienced a break. As much as you might feel like you're breaking down, you still can turn that into a breakthrough. You still can turn that breakdown into a breakthrough. You're gonna allow for what seemed like it came to break you, make it into something that's gonna break you through. Gonna break you through. I'm laughing because I can't tell you how many times I was humbled. And then I was humbled by feeling like I wasn't gonna make it, feeling like I wasn't gonna never. Appreciate you, Nika, tapping the screen. Um, I wasn't gonna make it through whatever I went through, if you could help me pronounce that your name, because I don't want to say it wrong. It looked like there's more to it than just Nika. Um, help me. I was humbled because there was times that I thought it was over with for me. Yet and still things worked out. Yet and still things came. Oh, okay. Yeah. Things came into play that allowed for me to see, like, darn, hold on. I went through all of that just for it to make sense at this point. What's up with it, Miss Lady? We just get a dose today. I went through certain things in life that allowed for me to realize why things just work out the way that they do. Man, you got it. To realize like, darn, I thought I was just being there for this person, just out of the kindness of my heart. Only to realize 20 years later, now this person called me like, hey, bro, I know you capable of doing X, Y, Z. I know you capable of doing X, Y, Z. Um, hey, can you help me with such and such? And now here it is. Darn, bro, you called at a time when you didn't even know that I needed you. I didn't think it was gonna be you that was gonna show up, but nonetheless, I'm grateful somebody showed up. You feel me? I'm grateful somebody showed up that I know, somebody that I trust. Now, in certain situations, like I said, don't get too excited, right? Because in certain situations that even with said person showing up, certain person showing up, I still had to protect them as well as myself from things that I was dealing with at the time because I'm knowing how Brett gonna respond. I'm knowing how Brett gonna respond if I bring him straight in. If I get so excited, I'm like, all right, bro, pull me out the water. And then Brett pull up and see certain evidence of things that I'm going through. It's not that you're hiding anything, but it's like, Severance, you got that one friend that you know high-headed to an extent. That's I ain't gonna even say high-headed, overprotective of you. Don't play about you. Ain't gonna hear you out on how you want to go about handling it. They gonna handle the business. But yet and still, strategically, you've been moving in a certain way because you like, man, it gotta be dealt with this way. You know what I mean? It gotta be dealt with it this way. So you don't need to bring that person in so quickly to let them handle it. Um, and when I say don't get too excited, don't get to the point that you're moving so unbalanced in life that things throw you off. When you excited, you just constantly looking at things on how perfectly um I don't think that's the right way to put it. I'm gonna say it like this. When you get too excited, you just so happy about what you can see and you're not paying attention to what you can't see at the moment. Though there's things that you can see at the moment, there's other implications that you got to keep in mind. Um, that being balanced will allow for you to, you know, it will allow for you to be prepared for whatever happens. Because a lot of times, things that's working in your favor and how things is gonna work in your favor, look, ain't what you used to. It ain't what you used to. Like I said, it probably ain't gonna even be the person. Probably ain't gonna even be the person that you expect to show up. It ain't gonna be the situation that you expect to find yourself in. But nonetheless, if you're tired of being humbled, you're tired of hitting that wall when things work out, or you tired of just feeling like things ain't gonna work out, but all the while things is working out, you just want to allow for yourself to appreciate it. The best thing you can do is don't get excited. Because being excited is basically like, it's an extreme. You know what I'm saying? And that extreme goes more than one way. That extreme goes more than one way. Excitement can be, it could be a negative and a positive. It could be in a negative aspect as well as in a positive aspect to the point that it's just in your best interest to just stay balanced, stay in the middle. Stay in the middle on things. Don't be so quick to make decisions. Just because that person answered one thing right. You know what I'm saying? Don't be so quick to draw conclusions. Because that job called you back for the first interview. Don't be so quick to think, oh man, it's the one right here. To the point you stop applying yourself. Just because that house called you back, said, yeah, we like your application right now. We considering you. Don't be so quick to just assume everything is handled. Because when you going into a new space, when you going into a different level in your life, when you learning to express yourself from a greater vantage point, again, it's gonna be some unseen things. It's gonna be some things that take place that you ain't never seen before. To the point you gotta leave room for it. You gotta leave room for it. You gotta leave room for it to play out. For it to play out in a way that you never expected. But if you always going with what you've always seen, you're gonna always get what you've always got. You're gonna always get what you've always gotten. And you can't even be mad, because that's all you allow for yourself to see. You know what I'm saying? You get excited because the person that pulled you out the fire last time showed up again. It's cool, you know. It's cool. Recognize that, hey, you got your old faithfuls. You know what I'm saying? You got certain people that's gonna always be there for you, right? One thing I had to realize when it came to my parents, I know for some people it's easier for them to see it already because maybe they don't deal with their parents or don't have their parents, right? But one thing I had to realize from having parents that was heavily in my life during my childhood, as I began to go into my adulthood, what's up with it, Joe? I had to recognize that where I'm about to go, what I'm doing um, to overcome the habits that my family has been dealing with up until now, right? That ain't necessarily been in our best interest. Um, they can't help me get there per se. Appreciate you tapping in, my G. They can't necessarily help me get there. Uh-oh, look at that. Uh-oh. They can't necessarily help me get there. So I can't even be mad at them for what they do or don't do. You know, as parents, we tell our children all the time, or at least we might not tell them, we want our children to be better than us because we know where we may have came short. We know certain things that we need to work on to the point that also there are certain things that as far as bettering ourselves that we might just didn't see the way to it. Or it might have been so stubborn or set in our ways, our habits, familiarities, to the point that we wasn't willing to shake certain things. We weren't willing to sacrifice certain things in order to get there. And since we wasn't willing to sacrifice those things, we tend to keep running in the same loop or the same cycle of experiences, you know. But here it is, that child come along and they do something a little different. That person in our life that look like such and such or remind us so much of such and such, but they're just a simple nuance or a slight nuance on how they move that's a little different than what we familiar with, to the point it's like I gotta jump out that boat because I'm used to this over here. I can deal with this because I done been through that. But you weird. I'm talking about me. For anybody personalize it to them and think I'm intentionally trying to talk about them, I'm talking about me out loud in front of the world, working through um some thought processes that for the betterment of myself I must do. for the elevation or the continuous growth in my life, these are things that I must come to grips with. Um, and though, I'm no longer dealing with, the help from my parents, I'm dealing with more or less the help from people that may have been in my recent environment. Um, Maybe the help that we feel like they could be providing us is not necessary. Maybe it's not gonna come in the way that you necessarily think that it will. But look at the things that's in your environment that are in your favor. Start like my grandma used to always say, count your blessings, right? Because once you, like I was paying attention earlier, I had on this blue skull cap. What's up with it, Divine? I had on this blue skull cap, right? And when I noticed it when I first turned on my camera, as I was walking, right, I'm looking down at my phone, not necessarily looking at anything outside of the phone, not looking for anything outside of the phone, I should say. What's up with it, Shaka? To the point that I noticed a blue cap, like a blue cap to maybe like a pen or something, right? I noticed the blue cap, and oh man, you here you go with this, Shaka, you crazy. Uh, I noticed the blue cap, and it's symbolic, right? It's symbolic to what you put your focus on. You will notice it even when you're not necessarily focusing in a certain direction. So if you put your focus on growth or things that's gonna grow you, you'll start noticing aspects that will allow for you to grow going forward. Opportunities that were allotted to where you can grow from. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you typing the screen, love. Um, and if you haven't noticed those things in your life, maybe you should ask yourself the question: am I doing things in my life for the growth of myself, or am I just doing things to further insulate myself in familiarities? A lot of times, even in relationships or our relationship with life, we base the good and the bad based on familiarity. We think like things is going good in our life because we dealing with things that we familiar with. We think people in our life, they care about us. What's up with Alonzo? We think they care about us because, you know, they moving in ways that we familiar with. We think we winning because we keep on seeing things that we familiar with. All the while, we relating losses to things that are unfamiliar to us. We had an experience that we weren't familiar with. And it's like, damn, that was uncomfortable. We look at uncomfortability as a loss. When truth be told, on the other end, or my grandma would say again, on the other end of that uncomfortable situation, on the other end of a trial and a tribulation is a blessing. Learning from those uncomfortable situations, those unfamiliar situations, that's growth. That's growth. Growth is represented by the unseen things that we never been through before. Just think about it. Keep on going through the same thing over and over. Is you really growing? Is you really growing? What's up with it, bestie? Are you really growing? If you keep on going through the same thing over and over from the same aspect, don't get me wrong, there's certain things you're gonna go through that look familiar, right? But even if you going through that same thing, shouldn't you be going through it at a different rate? Even if you getting your heart broke, shouldn't your healing, your recovery time be a little different? Shouldn't your recovery time be a little different this time around? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But I love the fact that, you know what, I cried yesterday, but I cried from a different aspect. Yeah, I noticed that my heart was breaking, but I wasn't necessarily crying for me. And sometimes when your heart get big, you know, or when you start to notice different aspects of your heart, you know, your viewpoint of your heart begins to widen. You can feel others' heartbreaking. You can feel other people not being able to open up, and sometimes your heart goes out for them. And I'm saying I'm speaking in these ways because, you know, as they say, you can never say never. You shouldn't necessarily speak in totality because there's always room for more understanding. There's always room to learn more when you speak in those aspects. For a lot of us, we don't even realize. For myself, a lot of times I don't realize how the things that I'm saying is entrapping me, limiting, limiting my growth. Um, I have to be grateful, man, instead of being so quick to jump out the boat. Now, what's the largest room in the world? Um, tuh, okay, Beetle. Instead of limiting my growth by not being willing to allow for the flow of life to happen. Tuh, I like that. The biggest room in the world is room for improvement. It's all, and that's once you start looking at life from that aspect, it becomes so beautiful. Because once you just looking to be comfortable in life, to always know how things is gonna play out in life, it can be very uncomfortable when you realize you still got room to, you know, you still got more to learn. Because you can't even really say room for improvement without recognizing the good about room for improvement. You know what I'm saying? Once you look at it from that angle, it's like, man, I'm getting better. Things are getting better for me by way of how I carry me. Oh, that's what it is. That's what's up. And honestly speaking, these uncomfortable moments in life, that's really what they showing you. That's really where we growing to. Being humbled in life is really what that's all about. Cause you get humbled when you recognize, darn, it's still more for me to learn. It's still more that I gotta do to improve. There's still more to it for me. You feel me? It's still more to it for me. And for that, I'm grateful to be able to say, like, you know what? I still got more improvement to do. I still got more learning. Still got more learning in me. What's up with it, big dog? Nah, hell nah. I left that bitch at the crib. They came out here to walk. Nah, you can't whoop me today. Nah, I ain't got the bar today, though. You doing all right, though? There's more improvement to do, man. And that be the beauty of life when you realize, like, man, I got more work on myself, more work within myself. Um, and honestly, I'm gonna give you another viewpoint with that. I'm improving my vantage point about myself because the things that you are learning about yourself, it's always been you. You know what I'm saying? As much as you say I can better myself, you just getting a better understanding about yourself for real, for real. You're getting a better understanding about yourself for real, for real. Like you are greatness in motion. You feel me? And sometimes it takes for that motion to slow down for you to understand that aspect. So as much as you feel like things is slowing down in your life, feel like things is at a standstill. No, I appreciate you coming through, love. Um, Hopefully we said something that was encouragement to keep you going at a greater rate than you was at first. As much as it seemed like things is at a standstill in your life, it's really for you to take some time to notice how far you came. As much as it feel like certain people are leaving your life, sometimes you putting so much focus on them certain people to the point that you can't even see. You can't even see what you need to see at the moment. That little beetle chilling on me, chilling. It's certain things that's just looking at this beetle. I'm thinking like, it's certain things that's moving in your life, and you can't even appreciate it right now because you don't recognize it. 'Cause you just moving so much yourself to the point that you don't even realize how things is spinning in your favor. How things is working out. What's up with it? Yeah, yeah. How things is working out for your greater good. But you can see that, you know, when you get to a point that you're not so excited. You're not so excited, you know what I mean? You're not so full of yourself in each moment that you calm enough to be aware of everything that you can be aware of. You know, that's the whole point of learning. You take time to assess different situations. Um, Take time to be grateful. You know, I always say be grateful because you want a greater quality of life. You want quality versus quantity. Being grateful will allow for you to be able to say, you know what? It's like I was saying with the blue. Once you start noticing certain shades of blue, you'll get to the point that you'll start noticing that blue everywhere. Start noticing things. What's up with it, King? Nah, I ain't got man the bar so far away. Once I go get that mud, I'm gonna be in the crib, bro. I feel you. But shit, I'll be out this mud tomorrow. I'll try to bring that mud out tomorrow though. I'll be out here the same time. Huh? Around this time? All right. For real. Man, hopefully I see you tomorrow though, cause I'm about to get ready to go to work in a minute. For sure. Man, I'm red, bro. What's your name? Cotton. Nice to meet you, kid. We gonna get it in. All right, then make it worth my time. Don't get out here and get tired of me, man. All right, we gonna get it in. For sure. Uh, you'll be surprised how things is working in your favor if you put focus on noticing what's working in your favor. You know what I'm saying? Put focus on noticing what's working in your favor. Put favor at the forefront. You feel me? Put favor at the forefront. And the only way you can notice your favor is to be grateful. Count your blessings. Count your blessings. Just saying, man. You tired of stressing, you tired of complaining, you tired of feeling like shit, tired of thinking things ain't going the way that they should be going or in your favor. Start focusing on the things that's in your favor. You don't gotta force it. You don't gotta continuously put yourself in situations, you know what I'm saying, for other people to entertain you. 'Cause a lot of us we get to the point, man, I'm bored. I need to go do something. Can't sit down for nothing. I've been sitting down too long. You know, that's how you put yourself in situations. You know, I got too many homeboys that, man, It wasn't their idea to go out. Got too many homegirls. It wasn't their idea to go out, but somebody called them, said, let's go do XYZ. No, they no longer. You know, nobody else can tell you that you didn't live up to your potential, right? Nobody else can tell you that, but only you got to live with knowing that you didn't live up to your potential. And to me, the easiest way to not live up to your potential is not take the time to be aware of why this life was designed in the way that it was, why we exist the way that we do, why we go through the things that we do at the rate that we do, and who you are in each scene. Some of us is playing the antagonist. Some of us is playing the antagonist, and because society called it trolling, you know what I'm saying? It done made it cute, gave it a little cool little name. We cool with trolling. We cool with being on bullshit, because society rewards those who bullshit. But once they recall that, you know what I'm saying? Once consequence, once the reverberation, once the pushback, what you pushed out, come back to you, are you gonna be cool with it? Are you gonna be okay with living with the fact of knowing that, man, I got back what I put out? See, some of us we get things that we didn't necessarily put out, and you can get to a point even with that you don't even notice it no more. You don't notice it. You know what I'm saying? You see what people doing in a way. You feel me? You see it, but it don't affect you the way that it would if you knew this was a consequence of something you did. This is karma. When it's karma, it hit different because you can't do nothing. You can't be mad at nobody but yourself. You can't blame nobody but yourself. It's like it hit twofold. Like somebody else tried to do something to you, plus you know you brought it to you. You know what I'm saying? Versus when you out here noticing the blue, you feel me? Because that's the thing. You can put your focus on things, right? And receive the blowback of what you put your focus on. And that's really what karma is. Receiving back what you put your focus on. You put your focus on being on bullshit, you're gonna receive what come with being on bullshit. If you put your focus on being edifying, you know, uplifting yourself and others, you're gonna receive what come with that. And when you least expect it, somebody gonna show up to edify you. Somebody gonna pick you up. And sometimes when you least expect it, somebody gonna show up to edify you. Somebody gonna pick you up. And sometimes you ain't even do this. Go do that. Hey bro, I got this for you. I'm like, man, again, I'm only selfish with myself. I be thinking I don't necessarily need it. Only for a day or two to go by or an hour to go by and something happen. And I'm like, hold on, man. I need to stop getting too excited in my situation to the point that I'm blocking blessings. I don't allow for myself to receive certain blessings that came before the lesson. You know, it was so many times, but I would be um, you know, learning about different astrology and stuff of that sort. You feel me? And I'd be like, man, that happened to me yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like almost feeling like I'm ahead of my time type shit. Feeling like, you know, the message came to me after the fact. But the good thing about that is it's confirmation. It's letting you know like it's letting you know like you was already on point. You was already to a point of making things happen. You was already to the point of doing what was necessary to receive. And so now that you was already in, you know what I'm saying? It show you how you in alignment already to the point. Now the message that come through is nothing but confirmation that was meant to be. Even though it already happened, it's letting you know like, yeah, that was meant to be. That wasn't by accident. That wasn't by happenstance. Just saying, I ain't gonna hold y'all up though. Appreciate y'all presence. Appreciate you popping in, stopping through, and noticing what you got within and its greatness. Because if it wasn't for the fact of you noticing the greatness that is you, we would never come across paths at this rate. We'd never be able to appreciate a conversation or a platform such as this. So I'm gonna appreciate you by saying, man, appreciate you doing what's necessary for you to arrive at this destination. I'm grateful for you. I love you as myself, and it ain't nothing you can do about it. As we are one, and I'm so glad we in connection. What's up with it, Neek? Neek, real quick. Today's message is don't get too excited to the point that you miss out on the point of why everything is happening in your life. Feel me? Don't get too excited to the point that you're unbalanced and can't appreciate all the great things that's happening in your life. Um, Time we get too excited with our relationships, get too excited with maybe our jobs, and we forget what's important, which is being aware in each moment to the point we can be balanced. Nah, I appreciate you. Yaya, I'm definitely looking to find somebody that can help me download these videos, but I'm gonna put the YouTube in the chat. I've been downloading a lot of them and putting them up on YouTube to the point that you can always go back and catch them. Um, you can always go back and catch 'em. My logo is the same. Nah, I appreciate you. It's the same as it is on here on YouTube, so it'll be easier for you to find it. So just screenshot what I'm gonna put in the chat, and you'll be able to find it on YouTube. You'll definitely be able to find it on YouTube. But should I be able to find a camera person or somebody that got some space on one of their computers or devices, I can download all of the ones for this month and last month and put them up so where y'all to be able to have access to them at any time. Um, you'll be able to share it with your family members and things of that sort. Um, we on the move, man. We on the move, G. Everything is working out as it should. It's working out in our favor, even when the how to and the why isn't always understood. Um, just know that it's all good. It's all good, and it can continue to be that way if you allow it to. It can continue to be that way if you allow it to. Remain balanced is what I mean by not getting too excited. Remain balanced to where when it's time for you to go with your move or do what you must, you'll be prepared to do so. You'll be prepared to do so. And don't be so caught up in what other people doing, you feel me? To the point to throw you off from what you was purposed to do or what you feel like you're led to do. Folks gonna do what they gonna do, whether you notice it, know it or not. Sometimes you noticing it and knowing it can throw you off your shit. can throw you off that shit. You might see something that you can't stomach. You might see something when you going looking. Cause don't get me wrong, certain things gonna be brought to your attention for you to see. Gonna be brought to your attention for you to see heavy hands. It was meant for you to see that. It was meant for you to recognize what come with it. But um, other times when we go looking for stuff, you know, our vision can be skewed. You know what I'm saying? Like you go into it wanting to see certain things, right? So guess what? You kind of set yourself up to only see that. You know what I mean? It might not necessarily be at that rate, or it might not even really be meant that way. It might not even be meant to be, or might not have been meant to come off that way. But since you went into it with certain intentions, it left you open to see things from your vantage point. I already had your mind made up on what you was gonna see. I already had your mind made up on what you was gonna see and how you was gonna see it. But nonetheless, count it all joy, cause things happen to you are not happening by accident. But if you're counting your blessings, if you're noticing things to be grateful for, guess what? You will continue, no matter what it is, no matter how it looks, you will find a way to be grateful for it. On my mama, on my mama. You feel me? Promise you. Big mama used to tell me that all the time, and I'm living it now. I'm so appreciative that I didn't just write that out. Otherwise I would have been humbled, when that truth came around anyway. That truth don't need your acknowledgement. It don't. It don't need for you to say it's true for it to be true. But when it come around for you to recognize that it's true, you're gonna be humble because you thought it was. It's gonna make you feel like, dang, I could have, I could have been a wise man or woman and learn from the experiences of others. Instead, I had to learn from bumping my head. I had to learn from bumping my head. But either way, right? You gonna come kicking and screaming, or you gonna come willingly. You gonna come kicking and screaming, or you gonna come willingly. I use my willpower to seek understanding, and so therefore I receive understanding. I use my willpower to conserve myself in situations that a lesser understanding version of myself would have been provoked, would have acted in ways that I wouldn't have been proud of, ways that I wouldn't, wanted nobody to see me act. And it's in those moments that I'm able to be grateful that I've came far enough to not do those things. Came far enough to not do those things to myself first. Because, as much as you think you're doing stuff to other people, that energy that you express through yourself, that energy gotta first be expressed through you. How many times you done seen folks like amp theyself up, piss theyself off in order to do something? Meaning you gotta be in a certain headspace just to do shit. So as much as you think you doing something to hurt somebody else, you hurt yourself first. You hurt yourself first. Be not dismayed. Be not dismayed by doing the right thing. Be ye not displeased by knowing you did what was right, no matter what others intended to do to you. How you know you doing what's right? Is anybody harmed in the commission of this act intentionally? Did you set out to get under somebody's skin? Did you intentionally hurt yourself or unintentionally hurt yourself to get to somebody else? But that's how that shit play out a lot of times. That's another reason why I ain't got time to be going back and forth with nobody intentionally. Cause even if I'm so insulated and I'm so aware and paying attention, the things that I do to other people, right, it's gonna come back to me by way of my babies. S- Somebody I loved that wasn't even aware of what was going on. That's who they gonna get. That's who karma gonna get. And it hit different when things happen to us. I ain't saying things ain't gonna happen to you just cause you do right all the time, but it hit different when you know you did something to kind of bring this shit on. You feel me? When you know you did something to bring this shit on, like you brought it on yourself type shit. You brought it on somebody else type shit. Like it hit different, totally different. Something like can't even be mad type shit. What's up with it, Omnidoro? Call it what it is. Well, the good news is being balanced is the best way to be. If you're not too excited right now about what's going on in life, but you ain't, you know what I'm saying, too excited to where you're down, you know, 'cause that's two extremes, you know, being super high in the moment, you know what I'm saying, on things, and then being super low on things. I'm saying just be right there in the balance. You cool what's going on right now. 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 I'm right now. To where you getting a healthy understanding and awareness of why things are happening. That's fine, you feel me? Grand Rising Queen. Um, that's fine, man. You know, sometimes we get tricked into believing, man. You gotta be overly excited. You know, if you a little bored, you know what I'm saying? That's a bad thing. Are you not entertained? It's okay to not be entertained by the things that's going on right now. You feel me? It's okay. It is okay. It is absolutely fine. I'm thinking about that Rod Wave song when he say, certain things don't excite me no more. Certain things ain't like me no more. Like, it what it is. It what it is. One thing that never changes, I never get to the point that I'm okay with seeing other people hurt. I might understand it. You feel me? I might understand the purpose. You feel me? I might understand it. Be able to help them walk through it, work through it type shit. I'm not okay with it. I don't take joy in it. It's just balanced. But that heat getting to some folks. I'm balanced and I understand why. I understand why. Prepare yourselves for this heat, man. 'Cause it's heating up. Meaning, make sure you're hydrating yourself. Got things on deck to keep yourself hydrated. Um, don't be so quick to feed into arguments right now. That certain people didn't prepare themselves for this heat. and they susceptible to the waves of heat or heated situations, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. For some folks, but recognize as much as it took a lot of things to get your attention, it's gonna take a lot to get their attention as well. That being said, family, I love you as myself. If you're looking for the playback of this, I'm gonna definitely upload it to YouTube. Still looking for people that can help me download some of this stuff. As I'm running out of space in my phone. But if you got space or a computer, feel free to inbox me because we're gonna make it make sense to everybody though. So we're gonna be some conversation for that. Um, but if you can help with that, let me know. We got some editing skills, let me know. That being said, love you, family. Let's get it.